Hey guys, it's Rachel here. I just wanted to come on with a quick update, and I know my voice sounds scratchy. I've been having sinus issues, so please bear with me. Hopefully it's not too bad. But in any case, I'm finally getting to do that update, and I'm going to try to be very, very careful because I tried filming this and it was very wobbly. I mean, really bad. I couldn't adjust around that. So I'm trying to use my elbow as a steady cam and just carefully swing around as I talk about the different things. But number one thing that I always say, and I will always say when I do any kind of updating for the craft room, make sure that it's safe, that it's laid out safely, where you're not in danger of things falling on you, dropping on you, that you can reach it safely, that you're not, if you have any physical limitations, you're not going beyond, like if you have problems raising your arms, make sure that things are within reach, especially things that are maybe a little bit heavier. So safety is number one, functionality is number two, aesthetics will always be a number three for me. And, maybe someday I'll be able to get an IKEA unit. I mean, they're gorgeous, and I love seeing all the different craft rooms and the ways that people have it laid out. But because of the spacing and the budget that I work under right now, function is king in this room, or queen, depending. So I'm going to have mismatched furniture. I'm going to use whatever. If I don't have something, then I'll make up an alternative to get the job done so I can get back to work. So just, where my head is at, that's behind the decisions that I make for the room. And I didn't want to forget to go over the pegboard. If you have a lot of things that clutter the desk, definitely, if you have the space, I really would recommend investing in pegboard. I got two of these. One is in the kitchen because we really didn't have a lot of space for our pots and pans. So I found a wall that would accommodate them and had enough studs behind the drywall where I could anchor them because, of course, the pots and pans are pretty heavy once you hang them all up. So this was the other piece that I wanted to bring in here. And the reason I have it behind the door specifically is up there you can see the router for the Wi-Fi. I keep it up above the door because where I had it earlier, I kept bumping it and knocking it. I didn't want to damage it. I didn't want to damage the cords by accidentally yanking on them. So the wires will always be kind of a hot mess, but I do have them secured to the pegboard. There's these little bracket things that hold the pegboard hooks in place. I used those to keep the cables flat. So again, making sure when I'm taking stuff on and off the pegboard, I'm not going to accidentally rip the cables. So all the things that I maybe don't use all the time, but frequent enough, I've got it laid out, and I tried to keep it to the tools. Well, with the exception of those little ornaments, I forgot about those when I was going through the organization. So when I'm done filming, I'll pop them into one of the boxes I have set aside for Christmas ornaments that I didn't use this year. So, like I said, I started with the hooks that come with the pegboard. I did not have one. I didn't have the space, so that yardstick you see, I just drilled a small hole in that and then hung it on a nail so I can find it. Because it doesn't matter how big or small. It doesn't matter how small the craft room is. When I need something, I can never freaking find it. I don't know if that's a hidden talent I didn't know I had, but I'm trying to eliminate that as much as I can for this year. Anybody that's been in their craft room for 5 minutes, I think you feel me. So this year is just trying to reduce that because you'll never be able to eliminate it. But anyway, I don't want to digress too much. Like I said, I've got all the tools. I've got all the heat tools, the heavy duty pliers now, so I don't have to keep losing my eyelets. I hung them up underneath the new eyelet punch I got, and just all the odds and ends tools that I will get to at some point over the next year. So it's all right here. Even the extension cord I hung up underneath the internet box just so I wasn't tripping over it. I thought I didn't want to leave it plugged into the power strip I have set aside, tucked down on a cubby, because again, I was tripping over it, or it was getting tangled, or I was accidentally running my chair over it. So I don't want to damage the wires, because you can get a short on the inside. Even if it's not damaging the cables on the outside, you could be getting damage to the wires beneath all that coating. So anyway, just a little side tech tip. And the only other thing I had left on here when I did the reboot on the pegboard was I had attached a power strip, because the cord coming from the internet box wasn't long enough to go all the way down to the outlet. But again, I didn't want to be tripping or have the power strip get damaged, so I put it up on the pegboard. I think I had to use a combination of foam strips and oh, what is that? Velcro. Sorry, I couldn't think of the word for a second. I was stuck on foam tape. I think I did a combo package to keep it as secure as possible. So in any case, that's why I did the pegboard the way I did. So if you have room, I really recommend getting that in there for you for things like that. Or whatever. I mean, there's so many things you can add to it. Shelves, cups, holders, whatever. But this works best for me to keep all this stuff in place. That, these things just took up a ton of room on the shelves, trying to keep them in bins and stuff like that. It just was getting irritating. So, and the only reason why I go through and I do these big adjustments is because what I'm doing is constantly changing, especially now that I'm working on setting up the online store. I need to have storage. I need to know what am I working with. So I need the space to rotate out projects that I need to get to sooner rather than later. So now that craft show season is done, I've tucked up all the craft show supplies in the closet where I can access them, but they're not in my way. And then I rotated out the projects I need to work on for this year. And then over here, I tried to eliminate stuff on the desk, but I just can't do it because it is such a small room. So I put the minimal amount on the thing, and then I used an extra leftover shelf from an entertainment center to set the pencil holders and stuff on, that things that again I need to get to, but I don't want them cluttering the desk. So I went up so it still frees up all the desk space I have all the way up to the drawers on those little plastic bins that I have set up on the end. And that's where I keep all my ink pads, my ink blenders. I think there's also embossing crap in there. So this is also a reminder that keep the stuff that I need to use, that is easy to forget about, or that I need to use up, I keep right by the desk now. So that's like the number one, because as we all know, out of sight, out of mind. And I really need to do that. So that's also a good reason why I will go through and cycle through. But the core layout in this room has not changed. So I think once you get that for yourself, as to what works best for you, the details may come and go depending on your needs. And again, like I said, because I'm constantly introducing new crafts, it's for this reason. You may see these adjustments in here, but I really recommend you could, if you work on one thing, get the layout, get it set up, and you should not have to move it much, depending on what you need or what you're doing. So I did get a lot of free space freed up. I wanted to keep some elements that I use most right there. But again, going back to other things that are like that, like all my gemstones, I have easy access to those. Now I've got all of my embossing, no, they're not embossing, the little handheld die machines plus my Gemini are right here. And I found a tip from a gal, her name is Kathy Zilski. I don't know her personally, but she put her Gemini on a swivel, and that's a really good idea. And a quick shout out to my friend Navasha. I finally got little Zen dude up next to his new buddy Clyde on the wall. I need to mount him on something, but I need to really research. I think I need to get him a frame. I was afraid if I tried to use any gel mat or anything to attach it that way, it was going to damage him, and I didn't want to damage what you sent. So little Zen dude is now where he will be. I just have to finalize the attachment. So right now he's up temporarily. So anyway, that's his new buddy Clyde. That was the space I had mentioned when we did this swap. That is where he needed to go. And then coming over on this side, I have a step stool I was tripping over, so I used those over the door hooks for the bifold doors. I needed a place for that big roll of the foam tape. You know, it's just crap like that that can be hard to store. I got command strips for the wire frames for doing wreath making, and you know, it's just all kinds of stuff. And then I used a shoe thing to sort out all the little bits that I was getting bogged down with. It's sort of the equivalent for the pens, not the pens, the paints and the sponges and crap like that, to what I did with those little photo box holders. And I have pretty much filled up almost all of them now from when I started. I had done a video, I want to say it was a year ago, year and a half, maybe two. I have no sense of time. It was early on, so it might be closer to 2, where I had gotten photo boxes from Michael's where you can store, they have the one big case, and then inside you have all these little pockets. I'll swing down here. Again, I'm trying to be very, very careful, but you can see I have them set up in the cubby here. But I have all kinds of stuff. I sorted out my gemstones, die cuts, the ephemera, all of it. It's all sorted in here. So they're almost all filled up. And I think I have, let's see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7 or 8 of them. There might be another one tucked where I can't see it. So I have 7 or 8 of those photo holders. And I cannot stress enough how important it is to maximize your space, especially when you have a small space. And these things have been the bomb diggity since I got them. So if you haven't tried those out yet for storing all the small stuff and keeping most of it in one place, this is it. You know, some of the other things that I use more frequently, I store separately, like the gemstones, the loose gemstones, and things like that. That I keep in little containers. And if I wasn't afraid, I'd be jiggy, but it's those 2 blue baskets on the shelf next to the rainbow basket. Those are all the gems. I took the time to sort everything by color. And a quick, easy solution, if this is something that you need for cost effective or just whatever, the Dollar Tree now sells a 10-pack of condiment cups that you can find. They usually have it with like the catering style stuff. Is the only place I can remember seeing them. So I've just got a bunch of those. I got some of the small Tupperware style containers, just whatever I could get or whatever they had that day. And now I've got all of my loose gemstones stored in little condiment cups. That's what works for me. You may find something that's one set of different containers or like matching containers if you go around the internet or Amazon or something like that. But again, I want function more than the aesthetic right now. So that's what I grabbed. That's what I use. The important thing was having something to sort them into and something that was easy to store. So those baskets also from the Dollar Tree are perfect. And then I just, rework the shelves to what I need. Then I kept the 12 by 12s when I moved these file sorters. I kept them sideways. I know technically these are supposed to be flat, but it's so hard because these 12 by 12 pads can be so heavy. It eliminated my problem of how to separate them. That was a question I had put out, and I had some really good recommendations. They have dividers that you can get, but I thought, I was looking at these one day and I'm like, yeah, but if I tip them on the side, number one, these wooden things right here, I don't think my hand will show, but these here are a lot more sturdy than like the softer, like a plastic divider. So I just went with it. So I had my son help me get them stacked on top of each other, and it is absolutely perfect. I have them pretty much sorted out by brand or color or type or, whatever. That part really, it mattered, but didn't matter to me. But I figured if I was sorting them, I did it like that. But these are absolutely perfect. It's stable. It holds the weight of all those heavy 12 by 12 pads, and I can pull them out one at a time without having to move the whole stack, which again makes it easy because mostly my elbow, but sometimes my hand will cramp. When you're constantly moving heavy stuff in and out, then I don't know, wherever the tendons are, like where your thumb, that tends to seize up on me. So that's why I just went with this for the permanent solution. And as a side note, it also limits your ability to purchase the 12 by 12s. So it's spending control too. Never underestimate the power of spending control. Because honestly, we really only have so much room. So I need to keep it real. So that is how I solved my dilemma of how to safely store the 12 by 12s without doing wear and tear on my elbow or my wrist or my hands or whatever. And then right now they're a handy holder for the clips that I use for different projects. They're up because the shelves are tall enough or wide enough that I have room to store the clips on there, but I'm not hitting them when I walk by, and they're not blocking me from taking out the 12 by 12 pads. So I just had gone through, moved all my paints and everything in the drawer, again, using it as a spending control method because I was just filling up these drawers with papers and all kinds of stuff that I didn't really need while I was also not using the stuff that I already had. So paints, pens, markers, stuff that I use for using food coloring to color the glass, just all kinds of odds and ends. But all the paints that I have, except for the pouring paint, I have separately. There's some other ones that didn't fit, but anything that could fit in here in terms of painting, drawing, coloring, whatever, in terms of paints and the jelly pens, it all went in here. So it was filling up the space, again, keeping me from being cluttered with smaller items, and I can access it at any time. So that is perfect. And again, spending control, I can't fill it with other stuff, and I can't fill it with too much paint that I have to use the stuff before I have room for more tubes of paint. So that is the reasoning behind that. Because as we know, when sales come up and all that, man, we just want to run and clean house to grab that sale, but that's not always cost effective or space. It doesn't lead to space efficiency. And then these are the papers that I sorted out. I cannot remember now which ones are the Copic, but I think I know which ones they are when I'm grabbing paper for the crafting. There's, all the different kinds of papers I have are here. And then, what is in here? And then I had loose sheets of 12 by 12, and I got those sorted out in here. And these are all pretty much full. So again, I can't go run out and buy 12 by 12 papers because these are pretty much maxed out. And I have stencils and letters. I have some letters left, just, all the odds and ends stuff that I use infrequently, but I don't want them cluttering everything. So, and then I'm going to be getting back into doing beading and stuff. There will be more on that later. But I moved this back down, and I think I found the actual casters on there if I need to move it. So when I'm done with this, I'll take the drawers out, put the proper casters, and then get the drawers set back up. And then down here is just pretty much like all the background papers, card making kits, all my stuff from Dawn at Shiny Silver Treasures, of which I have a ton, which I found when I was sorting all my stuff. So that's so much fun. So now, so happy being a design team member for her. Now I can just grab what I need to work on any project that I need to do for her, and it's all right here behind me, and I have it all sorted out. So there's that. And then I had to go back to a small can because I was tripping over it and it was really, really getting irritating. Um, so not much has really changed under here, so I don't really need to talk about that. Same thing over here. The only thing I did is because these 12 by 12 cases for holding paper, I have it sorted out where there's vellum, the things that I use to make, where I do projects using the poker cards like you see up on that magnet board. Behind the beading board is the rust, but I turned the poker cards into magnet art and I needed something to set them on so they weren't getting damaged. And I went, hey, you got two big magnetic boards. What are you doing? So I did that, and then the other one is dedicated to my large stamps that will not fit in the drawer with the rest. And then that's just a picture of my guy who's not so little. But in any case, so I got them hung up here so they're out of the way and I'm not worrying about pulling stuff on them and damaging the stencils. They'll keep safe behind these boxes because if I take these off, they're going to go this way, not the other way, of course, because the wall. So that's just a quick update. Like I said, I've got the layout now. I cleaned off as much clutter on my desk as I could, and now I have more time, more space while I'm working through projects, and I got a little bit more efficiency for my sake. So this is the update, and I'm gonna leave it there. So in the meantime, you guys have a great Happy New Year. Today is New Year's Eve, so celebrate safely, be safe. I wish you guys all the best for the new year, and then I will definitely be seeing you in the next video.